Hello and welcome back. Another try and fly of an meanwhile Xplane-12 native aircraft from Aerobask. It's the the Diamond DA-50, the smaller brother of the DA-62. And we have version 12, release 1. So the first attempt in making this aircraft compatible with Xplane-12. Yeah, and we're going to give it a quick run, usual try and fly scenario that I used also for other aircraft, GA aircraft. And without further ado, let's start here. Okay, I see I have changed. I look different. So here's the doors. I can also open this side. Very good. So let's jump into the cockpit. As with very usual with oh, I see I haven't programmed, oh my god, all keys yet. There's one view I haven't programmed, so let's do this. Hang on. So that's the passenger view. So, okay. And this one should actually be a view that I tried to do. Yeah, no, I must have lost it again. Because I thought I had done a view that kind of shows all these here. And can easily be used to also swap to this one here. So let's quickly check the ground options. So we have fuel. I just balanced the fuel so that we have the same in both. There's only the male pilot, me. Then we put the chocks on and we connect the GPU. Just making quite a racket. Let's refill all the bottles. Now here's a difference. It actually, to the DA-62, the displays are immediately visible, because in the DA-62 this was actually put on 0, which led to the strange situation that this was all black, not only like this, it was black. And I thought, I literally thought it's not working. You can swap the liveries, and you know what? Let's close left door, right door, PAX door. That's a bit better. Now, other options. Yeah, so there's disabled pop-ups. It's very similar to the DA-62. Here's some options for the display. I'm not going to change anything now, just keep it as it is. There's the sounds. You can actually make the sounds or switch the sounds here. Let's see if my noise cancelling headset function works. Yes, it works. Very good. But and there's AviTab integration. You should get yourself that plugin. If you don't have it, it's already compatible with Xplane-12. No problem. So we've got half a tank of fuel, which is more than enough for what we are doing. And that means we are done with this here. Right, I do again have a checklist. By Jean-Pierre, Goofy JP. He's doing quite well done. This is for Xplane-12. This is actually a modified version that fits Xplane-12 already. Let's quickly go through the values. Max operating altitude 20,000. We're not going that high. We're going 4,000. 750 nautical miles, roughly, is how far you can get. Max speed is 181 true airspeed. consumption at max range is 34 liters per hour. Stall speed is 57 knots, then never exceed 191. The operating maneuvering speed above certain weights, 119, 125, 133 and 162 is the max gear operating. So you need to be below that speed to bring out the gears, and you need to be below 133 knots for the takeoff max flap extend speed, or 121 when we are on the approach. That means you need to be below these speeds in order to safely get your flaps out. The flaps take off best rate of climb with 79, so roughly 80 knots is what we should be having here. So I'm going to bring out that window for me on my second screen. And I just realized, as usual, this is something that, since I have my new graphic card, it seems that the display IDs are continuously changing, which is a pain in the butt. But yeah, there's not much I can do about. So what I'm doing now is I am arranging that window for the G1000, so that I can put that up for you in the window. Works. Alright then, now next, oh, there's more. So, takeoff. Rotation at 60 knots. Yeah, we're climbing with roughly 70 knots plus minus. And we're approaching also with around 70 something. Okay, approach speed 77. Okay. So P2 covers, doors are, nah, well, we don't need them open. Refuel, we've done the fueling, we have GPU, and what we can do now is can quickly activate the avionics master, which will bring up that display here as well. And what we can do now is, actually it's an interesting one, by the way. What we have here is the display. Oh, and I think I know why I had this view. I forgot about that actually. Yeah. So there is no 2D window for this. So having the keyboard doesn't really help with where it is. Yeah, you can't get it into one view. So I had tried to make a view, forgot about that actually, that covers this. I think we can do this without using the what's going on. Somehow my keys are caught. Nope. What's happening here? Oh, I think I know. I must have. Yep, that is the keyboard. Yeah, okay. This is actually a switch, I think, that activates the keyboard. Right, let's go to flight plan. Go here, we use my already prepared flight plan that I have here. Can use declutter, that helps a little bit. So here's the route. It's not perfect yet, so I'm going to remove something. removing the airport because that will not work. And we have a discontinuity between a manual waypoint WP2 and here. And I will probably take over then, use the heading mode to get over to the initial approach fix for the ILS. We have already got the ILS frequency. Let's quickly check by switching the CDI. So course is 072, that's already fine for the approach, so I don't need to change this later on. Now let's check this. So looking good, we've got everything we need. Yep. Then let's quickly set up the altitude. We're going to climb to 4,000 feet. Heading is 072. Yep, that's already correct. Oh yeah, and one thing I need to do on the flight plan, I often forget. I usually take that waypoint and I use a direct to, because otherwise strange things can happen here. So this is our first waypoint we are aiming at. That's okay. Now that sets up the route to take. Okay, cockpit preparation, instrument and floodlights knobs. So yeah, exterior light, FIDEC, switch auto alternator, switch both on. Okay. The electric master switch, we turn that on. Avionic master switch we turn off now. Actually we have a nice inset here, which is also quite practical. All the breakers are pushed in. By the way, the breakers do work here. Okay. Fuel quantity, we have half a tank, fine. Elevator trim, we need to bring into neutral. So neutral is probably the takeoff position, I would think. Or is this line here? Yep. Fuel valve normal. The fuel valve. Oh yeah, we need to open. How do we get this opened here? Okay. Yeah. Normal. Hang on. Do we need the key from here, or is the key already? Was that Aerobask with the key? Then stall test, switch doesn't warning tests. So stall test, this is a FADEC test. Where's the stall test? I haven't really been flying in this one here. Ah. Okay. Gear test. Alright. Controls. Yeah, let's quickly check the other axis. Right. Seems to be okay. Strobe light switch on instead of the beacon. There's no beacon. Prop area clear. Clear prop. Power handle ground idle. GI, yeah, it is. Engine master. Here we have only one engine. On. Wait, glow on message. Glow on message. Yeah, it's there. Disappears. Now it's gone. And now it's... Power handle ground idle. Yeah, engine parameters verify. With 650 RPM. Oil temperature is still low, so we need to wait a little bit. Gearbox temperature. And what's that, coolant or something? That's all still a bit, yeah, in the yellow, so we're probably going to wait a bit that this comes up. Next is the before taxi. So the GPU, I don't know, did it remove the GPU? Apparently it did automatically. But the best way to figure this out is to quickly call up the options and yeah, see, connect. Install chocks, so chocks are gone, connect, everything is closed. We're fine. Alrighty, then engine until all in green or EAS 900 to 1000 RPM, so we need to give it a bit more power. That will should... Ooh. Okay, let's go back to 900 to 1000, so somewhere here. It's very fine adjustments I have to make to hit this. Okay, we can already see oil temperature is rising. The coolant, whatever that is, temperature, the gearbox temperature. So we'll just wait until all in green on EIS. The EIS is here on the left. So, but we can put on the avionics master again, which means that now everything moves over to this display. Then the position light switch we turn on. The transponder, yeah, 7000 will do. Transponder in standby. The heading buck is aligned with the runway. The PFD altimeter is set, QNH 2992, or I need to see if I can, where I can actually switch the unit to QNH. I think that's possible. I just can't remember exactly where you would do this. Uh, 2992. Now this is the course. This is weird. I probably have messed up my course now. Let's go back to no, I haven't. Okay. Anyway, the baro is now wrong again. 2992. So the MD something altimeter, it should be okay as well. 2992. Autopilot, it wants us to turn on. Heading pitch, so roll AP pitch, VS or FLC, and then we turn it off again. Flight director, we turn on. Fuel valve emergency. Where was that? That's all the de-icing stuff. I'm not sure where that fuel valve hang on. That's this thing. So put that in emergency and then back to normal. MFD flight plan, we've done that. Fuel valve normal, prot. Pitot stall heat switch on. No CAS message, yeah, and we turn it off again. Environment control system adjust. Yeah, so that's all the temperatures and things like that. I think we can skip that. Next is the taxi, so we got ATC request. We turn on the taxi light switch. And why do we have to get the weather? I don't know. Parking brake, release, brakes test, turn indicator, check moving, and then we move to the runway. Okay, then park brake off. We'll get towards the main taxiway here. Again, all the steering, everything is pretty docile, which means that Aerobask is making sure that we're not jerking around here with a millimeter of touching something. That's actually very good, so it's very controllable. Like that. I turned on the parking aircraft. Okay, I mean, we get Air Alaska in Stuttgart. Well, but I think it looks a bit more realistic if there are some aircraft, even if it's not the right ones. I haven't yet got any kind of live traffic or so activated here. Let me see. Yeah, we oh, yeah, braking is. Oops. Okay, that is quite sensitive. Need to remember that. In the meantime, we are all in the green. Actually, controlling aircraft is very slow, now that I realize. Interesting. I don't know if this is meant to be steered with a brake. So far so good. Let's stop here for the moment. Oh yeah, the brakes are. So I'm kind of torn between having brake pedals and differential braking versus there is a script I could use that which synchronizes the two brake axes and at least allows me to use the brake without going forth left and right, you know, because it's so difficult for me with the brake pedals to get it exactly right. But then again, I do like the differential braking, so I'm kind of thinking of maybe I'm writing myself some Lua script that will that I can turn this on or off, you know, something like that. I will see. Before takeoff, so parking brake. We set the parking brake. Then Pitos is dingsbombs on. The MFD switch on the system page. Right. Then power set 35 to 50% load. So somewhere between here, roughly. Check that there's no annunciators. That's okay. Then go to ground idle again. Alternators test. Alternator switches both off. Drop about 24 volt. Yep, we've gone down below 24 volt. When I put this up again, it comes back again. Yeah, that's fine. The FADEC switch, FADEC test. So the FADEC switch force B, and then we press We'll bring it back to normal, and then we press the test button, and we wait that the ECU messages disappear. Now ECU B, that one was ECU A. There are two engine control units, or whatever that's called. Okay, FADEC switch auto, test button we've done, MFD switch system off. Alright. Next, de-ice test, we don't need this. Static source test, let's script this. Initial climb speed, so all doors are closed, flight director is on, autopilot parameters are configured, altitude and heading. Source is the GPS. We've already activated, so this is all programmed. The flight director is on. Now ATC clearance, landing light switch on. Taxi light switch off. Emergency fuel pump switch. Where is that? Emergency fuel pump switch on. Flaps set for takeoff. That's the first position. Cowl flap open. The cowl flap there. Put that into open. Elevator trim for takeoff. Takeoff. Which is here. Headset set jack. What does that mean? To be honest, I have the foggiest idea what that means. Set jack, yeah, okay. Parking brake release. And let's line up. You can see we have synthetic view, runtime, runway view, I mean, oops. It's a little bit off, it seems. Or, well, no. It's actually correct. I've been off. Not bad at all. Oh, braking is problematic here. Okay, as you can see, I'm not, simply can't get it synchronized, so I think I'll use the key with this aircraft. That ensures that I am synchronized on the brake. Full power, maximum 5 minutes. Rotate speed 68, initial climb speed 80 knots. Heading back is aligned. Well, we are not aligned with the runway, so I'm not changing heading back. Full and free, we've checked that already. And yeah, chronometer, somewhere is a button that you press. Parking brake, release. Power, full power, maximum 5 minutes, and then we need to bring it back. So I've brought it to full power. At 68 knots, rotate. Which comes very quickly. 63, 68, rotate. And gear up. Landing gears up. Reduce to 90%, passing 85. Okay, I think we need to... Whoop. Yeah, I have dual function on a button, and I think I've lost my direction here. Let's go back to the runway. And I need to trim this aircraft down in order to get the speed come up, passing 85. So we're now at 80. So it's okay, reduced to 90%. Roughly, and we bring the flaps up. Yeah, well, let's bring the flaps up. We'll probably speed up anyway then. Controlling the aircraft with a joystick is different to the DA-62. To say. So I'm going to activate the autopilot and use nav mode. And I'm going to use vertical speed. And we'll climb with about roughly like 500 or 600 feet per minute. Now we can turn off the emergency fuel pump switch. Yaw damper we turn on. And landing light switch can be turned off. We are 800 feet ATL, yeah. So maximum climb power is 90%. Best rate of climb. We are far too fast, actually. Not good, because the best rate of climb. So let's climb with 1000 something. That should bring down the speed. And the climb cruise speed should be 94. So yeah, okay, we've already reached our altitude. The aircraft is turning nicely and following the route, which is good. Fuel transfer we don't need, I suppose. Fuel transfer knob, oxygen, we're not that high. Cow flap, and no annunciators. Next. So once we're on 4000, there's no arming, right? See this flicker? One of these days it'll be over. And Lamina has fixed it. So 4000, power below or at 90%, power recommended 75, so I'm going to reduce the power. To about 75%. We have a slight fuel imbalance. Cowl flaps as required. Environmental control system, blah blah, annunciators, VI system, okay. Next is the descent. But we are there, not there yet. There's the what's that, the A5 or the A8? The Autobahn, where the A8 would come, where does the A8 come from? Synchronize the heading. We are now flying parallel to the runway. Yeah, look at the shadows. Yeah. See now, there's a little winch here. You can see now the airport. We are flying more or less parallel now. When it comes to descent and so on, what does it say? Raining conditions we don't have, so descent power adjust, emergency fuel pump switch off, breakers all pushed in, cowl flap as required, oxygen handle pushed. We haven't done that yet. Passing below transition altitude, PFD, we are below the transition altitude anyway. Fuel transfer management as required. Cowl flap open, okay. So as soon as we fly towards the IF, I will do some of the things from that checklist. We're still parallel. Okay, we're past the airport. Now we're going to fly until WP2. This is a manual waypoint. I'm wondering why we have the... why do we have a discrepancy? So I suppose we would... At some points we need to use the where is it? Where was the here. So fuel transfer from something to something, huh? Let's see what happens. Fuel transfer. We'll do that automatic, meaning it will reduce the fuel tank with more. Questions over questions. Yeah, I use autos. Autos, the same autos I used in X-Plane 11, and I use an overlay that I created from the X-Plane 12 overlay data. That's why it kind of doesn't perfectly match, but yeah, it does the trick. Oh yeah, looky, that's working actually. Very nice. So let's turn fuel transfer off again before I forget, which is probably not a good idea. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to heading mode. The autopilot is now following the heading back. And I'm going to switch to localizer 1. We are on 109.5, which is India Sierra Tango Echo. That's the ILS. That's fantastic. Our course is 072. That's what it's supposed to be. And I'm going to now go to 340, which is 90 degrees, roughly. Look at the shadows. Ugh, eyesore, alarm. Ugh. You can see Stuttgart over here. Let's quickly go through the descent stuff. Emergency fuel pump. This is already off. We're not going to do a descent, we're actually doing then the approach. So let's go to the approach speed. Flaps up to 125 knots. Below that we can start with setting flaps. Approach power adjust. Landing light switch on. Yeah, let's do that now. Oh, PFD decision height. Ooh, where do I set that? Ah yeah, minimums. Okay. Minus, what kind of a default is that? 200, right? Enter. Or, okay. Set the decision height. Oh my god, yeah, you shouldn't get distracted. Crap. I passed the ILS, so let's turn around. Crap. That's the problem with being alone in the cockpit and having to do everything yourself without any help, and when you kind of get distracted. Especially at times when things are happening quickly. So I'm going to do kind of a 45 or so degrees angle. It should do nicely here, I hope. And I am arming the approach mode. So localizer armed, white, glide slope armed in white, yep. And now we need to reduce the speed. So emergency fuel pump switch, we need to turn it on again. Environment control system. So the heading we put, there we go. We're quite nicely, we're still below the glide slope, which is fine. It's going to change that any moment. Environment control system adjust. Parking brake is released. Fuel valve normal. Annunciators check. Go around we won't do. Landing. Final approach speed 90 knots with flaps up. Flaps landing 75 knots. So what was the maximum speed for flaps? Because I think we're having a bit of trouble getting slower. Can't get much lower than that. Let's use the gears. They're usually the most resilient, and I think below 152 I can use it. Go. Flaps takeoff. Flaps landing. And now we need to keep it at about 75. I think I was a bit too fast now for this. Low damper off. Gear test, check gear message, yeah. Flaps below 120, landing gear is down. And flaps is full down. Below 200 feet AGL. Autopilot off, main wheel first. After touchdown, power ground idle. Yeah, actually, I think I should have waited a little bit. That went too fast now with the slowdown. So roughly 75 knots for the speed. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we're testing the aircraft. As with all these things, you need to really use an add-on like this more often so that you get used to the procedures. Yeah. The checklist here from Goofy JP is really good. I like them actually. Those checklists are pretty much the best. They are almost fully automated, which is very helpful because I can only check where is it stopped, you know, and do wherever it's stopped. It doesn't need me to check all items because, as I say, we're alone here. Oh, cowl flaps, I think I need to open. And I think we're more or less spot on the speed, 76 knots. It's slowly getting slower, just to give it a notch more power. And normally probably in Stuttgart they wouldn't be too happy me coming in here with 75 knots, but well, what the heck. And by the way, should the atomic sun blind you here in XP12, here's your shades. I'm not sure if they really help, but there you go.
$500.
500 check. We have spot on speed, glide slope, localizer, everything fine. Very nice. No gimmicks, no fancy things like an S-Tech autopilots. They're a handful. You really need to train this. This is the kind of easygoing Garmin stuff. S-Tech is a pain in the butt. It's so easy to overlook something and then mess up the whole approach. Happened to me now twice again in the Cessna and some other aircraft. So if I can avoid it, I'm not using the S-Tech autopilot. Okay, speed 75. 400. Yeah, check. The next test will be what happens when you turn off the autopilot. Some airplanes violently start to veer off. 300. Are we slightly off, or is this a visual? This might be a visual thing. I think we are spot on the glide slope, yeah. 200. I'm taking over. Yeah, no fancy things here. It just stays nicely. I have to give it a bit of... it wears off to the right, has a tendency, but that's it. We're still on the glide slope. It's actually very easy to keep it like this. And... oops, now I think I overcompensated a bit, so... and I keep the nose up slightly. And wow, that was a nice, not too violent landing. Very good. So I know that the braking is a bit iffy, so I just use I have the button like in FSX for braking actions. And I get synchronized braking with that. Very good. And off we go. Actually, I need to use differential braking here. This doesn't steer. Maybe this is something because I have flattened the curves for the rudder because other aircraft are just all over the place. Maybe with this one here, maybe Aerobasks could be the reason why I'm a little bit slow on the turn here. So I use differential braking to help me. Okay. Right then, after landing, flaps up, clear the runway and set the park brake. And now we do landing light switch off, taxi light switch on, strobe light switch off, DI switch off, transponder set standby, emergency fuel pump switch off, P2 stall heat switch off, park brake handle release, and off we go to the position. I have to say, I love Aerobask airplanes. Always did. I find them some of the best, well-made, most well-made add-ons that you can get in the GA area for X-Plane on 11, and as we can see here now also on 12. They're really well done, really well worked out. The only other where I would say similar is Thunder. Thunder is different. They concentrate on different things. I think what Aerobask is doing and the way you can kind of see the love with which they're doing this. Maybe I'm exaggerating now, but Aerobask, when Aerobask brings something out and it interests me, so it's not something where I say, there are some aircraft where I think, what do I need that for? But the Diamond aircraft, for example, they are the best Diamond aircraft that you can get in X-Plane. They're really well done. And whenever they bring out something new, I don't have no second thoughts. If I want that aircraft, because it's something I'm interested in from Aerobask, my personal opinion, I buy it. Because I know I get good quality. It's the DA-62, it's the DA-50, and there are a number of other ones. The Phenom, at the moment, they still haven't got the X-Plane version, so I did a test. It worked sort of, and it shows how good the aircraft actually is. But at the moment, there are some things with XP12 that don't work too well in the Phenom. But that will come. So I have no doubt. And like that it is with all aircraft that I get from Aerobask. So that was my little advertisement for that developer. So Thunder is another one. There's a Kodiak, for example, which I'm going to test next, by the way. There isn't a XP12 version yet, but it's but it seems to work in XP12, and there's also a reality expansion pack that comes with it, so that's promising to be interesting. And yeah, the Just Flight GA aircraft are also relatively good. I'm not sure about the graphics sometimes. I think they are from Thunder as well, or at least Thunder works on these for Just Flight, if I'm correct. I'm not always convinced of the graphical features, but from a functionality point of view, they're also quite good. But I have to tell you, these here are the complete thing. You know, everything is matching. There's a good graphics. There's a fantastic the avionics. Everything is working fine, and so with Aerobask, you can't go wrong if you're interested in any of their products. Shutdown 1. You know me, I'm not one that puts a lot of praise around, but with Aerobask, I just need to get rid of that. Power, ground idle. Yes. Start the timer. Okay, so we should normally now wait a minute so that it cools down. I'm pretty sure it won't happen anything if I don't. Then MFD flight plan delete. That's an interesting one in this checklist, because I would have never thought that I should delete it, but it kind of makes sense. Normally you just leave everything as a mess. So, cowl flap closed. Avionics master switch off. Engine master switch off. Alternators both off. Fuel valve off. Then exterior light switches all off. Environment control system adjust. Oxygen handle pushed. Instruments and floodlights knob dim. Electric master switch off. And the MD switch, keep pressing and it's off. Then we open the doors and everybody can leave the aircraft in a panic. Although I think that wasn't too bad today. Let's see, here's the back door, so let's open that as well, so people in the back can get out there. Chocks and cones, for that we need to install the chocks, and yeah, and then that's it. I think we're done. Right, so the Aerobask DA-50 in its initial release for XP12, great stuff, works fantastic. And looking forward to some more updates to the simulator as well as the aircraft, but this is definitely a combination, this and the DA, the Diamond 62, This is a combination that I will probably use, at least for myself, but also for the one or the other video or stream in the future. Thanks for watching. Until next time.